Interpret visual, oral, and quantitative information. Level E, Lesson 36. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to read visual elements, interpret visual elements, compare and contrast information from text and visual elements. What you should know before doing this lesson. Some common text features are also called visual elements, such as timeline, pie chart, photograph, map, illustration, map key, diagram, or bar graph. Information in visual elements can help readers understand a text. Readers can identify, read, and interpret visual elements. Readers can compare and contrast information from text and visual elements. Some awesome words we're going to read. Slight. Say the word slight. In this text, slight is used as an adjective. It means small in degree. A synonym for slight is small. Plate. Say the word plate. Plate is a multiple meaning word. In today's text, it is used as a noun, which means a rigid piece of the earth's surface. Magnitude. Say the word magnitude. Magnitude is a noun. It is the measure of the size of an earthquake. A synonym for magnitude is degree. Intensity. Say the word intensity. Intensity is a noun. It means great energy or strength. A synonym for intensity is strength. Follow along and listen as I read this informational text. Earthquakes. Earthquakes happen all over the world. Most earthquakes are slight rumblings that do not cause any damage. However, some places have more frequent and more powerful earthquakes. Why? The answer lies below the surface of the earth, that is. What causes earthquakes? Earth's surface is made of large pieces called plates. These plates can move independently of each other. Sometimes two plates slide past each other. Other times they crash into each other. One plate may end up underneath the other, or the edges of the two plates can push each other up. This is how some mountain ranges are formed. Sometimes plates move away from each other. Then, underneath the plates, where it is extremely hot, melted rocks rise up in between the plates. This is how volcanoes are made. Plates moving against each other also cause earthquakes. Pressure caused by plate movements builds up underground. When the pressure builds up too much, it can cause huge chunks of rock to break. What are the effects of earthquakes? Although many earthquakes last only a minute or less, they can cause damage quickly. In 2015, a strong earthquake struck Nepal. Many people were killed as a result of this earthquake and its aftershocks. Aftershocks are smaller earthquakes that occur after the big one. Throughout history, earthquakes have destroyed villages, towns, and large cities. Fires often break out after an earthquake. These can cause even more damage than the earthquake itself. Some earthquakes occur underneath the ocean. These earthquakes can cause a huge ocean wave called a tsunami to form. Far out at sea, a tsunami may be only a few feet high, but as it travels, it can grow to immense heights before crashing down upon a shoreline. Where are earthquakes most likely to happen? Earthquakes are most likely to happen near where two plates meet. Some of the worst earthquakes in the United States have happened near the San Andreas Fault in California. A fault is a crack in Earth's crust that is usually caused by two plates scraping against each other. The San Andreas Fault is part of the Pacific Rim of Fire, a belt or band around the Pacific Ocean. Many volcanoes dot this band, and earthquakes are common, often severe. Alaska, the site of some strong earthquakes, is on the Rim of Fire. Japan is on the Rim of Fire too. In 2011, an extremely large, powerful earthquake struck Japan. That earthquake caused a tsunami which killed thousands of people. How are earthquakes measured? Earthquakes are usually measured in two ways: magnitude and intensity. Magnitude measures the size of the earthquake at its source. The magnitude is commonly measured according to a scale from 1 to 9 and above. Each number on the scale represents 10 times the power of the previous one. So an earthquake that measures 4.0 is 10 times bigger than one that measures 3.0. Intensity measures the amount of shaking in one place. An earthquake will usually have only one magnitude, but its intensity will vary from location to location. The intensity is measured using a different scale that describes the effects of an earthquake. Intensity. Description. 1 to 2. Most people do not feel the earthquake. 3 to 4. Hanging objects swing. Buildings sway. It feels and sounds like a truck hitting the building. 5 to 6. Everyone feels the earthquake. Slight damage occurs. 7 to 8. Some buildings fall down. Railroad tracks bend. Cracks open in the ground. 9 to 10. Many buildings crumble and collapse. Conditions are very dangerous for people. 11 to 12. Everything is destroyed. The landscape is totally changed. Introduction. Many informational texts include charts, graphs, diagrams, timelines, and other visual elements. These elements reinforce important ideas in the text and contribute to the reader's understanding of those ideas. Remember to always read the words and labels on visual elements, such as charts and diagrams, because the labels are usually important to understanding the visual elements. Look at the image on this slide. How does it help you better understand what you read in earthquakes? Even though there are no words to read, there is information in the picture. I see two blocks that look like they are pressing against each other. The edge of one of the blocks is underneath the other. Why do you think the author included this image? It must show something important. I think this picture shows what happens when two plates push against each other and one of the plates ends up underneath the other. I can compare and contrast the information in the picture and the information in the text. If I go back to the section, What Causes Earthquakes?, I see that the information in the text and picture is similar. Let's read the text. Earth's surface is made of large pieces called plates. These plates can move independently of each other. Sometimes two plates slide past each other. Other times they crash into each other. One plate may end up underneath the other, or the edges of the two plates can push each other up. Both the picture and the text are about what can happen when plates push up against each other. Sometimes one plate is forced underneath the other. Practice 1. Read visual elements. Remember that visual elements reinforce important ideas and can help readers better understand the text. Look at the picture on this slide. Can you read the visual element? To read the picture, you think about what you see and ask yourself how it contributes to understanding the text. This image shows another way plates can move and what can happen as a result. Do you see the arrows in the drawing? What do the arrows mean? How can you read that visual information? The arrows show that the plates are moving in different directions. Different kinds of visual elements that you may encounter in informational text might include diagrams, maps, charts, graphs, and timelines. Reading a visual element is more than reading words or phrases. Reading a visual element also involves decoding symbols, like the arrows in the picture. Look at this symbol. This is a symbol that we might see on a map. This is a compass rose. We read this symbol to tell direction. Practice 2. Interpret visual elements. Charts present information in rows and columns. Look at the column headings. Each heading is a title for the information in its corresponding column. The heading Intensity helps explain that numbers refer to different intensity or strength ranges for earthquakes. The heading Description explains that the right column lists descriptions for each intensity range. Interpreting a visual element is more than just reading it. Interpretation involves drawing conclusions from what you read and putting those conclusions into your own words. Ask yourself, what does this show? What can I learn from it? You need to read the headings to understand the information and see how earthquakes can have such different effects. Practice 3. Compare and contrast information from text and visuals. Compare and contrast the information in the chart with the information in paragraph 7. The text gives two ways to measure earthquakes: magnitude and intensity. The chart focuses only on the intensity of earthquakes. It includes specific details about earthquakes of different intensities. Can you identify one other way the information in the chart is similar to or different from the information in the text? Let's review the concepts from this lesson. Informational texts include visual elements such as graphs, diagrams, timelines, and other visual elements. Read the words and labels on visual elements because they are important to understand the visual element. Visual elements reinforce important ideas and help readers understand the text. Readers can compare and contrast information in the text to information in a visual element to draw conclusions. Awesome words we read. slight, plate, magnitude, intensity. Here's an assignment you can try. Use one of your other lesson resources, like your science or social studies text. Identify a visual element that is used in the text. Write a paragraph that paraphrases the information in the visual. Tell how the visual element helps you better understand the topic of the text. Compare and contrast the information in the visual with the information in the text. When you are finished with that, show your teacher your hard work. Bring the completed paper to the next Zoom class or take a picture and upload it onto Canvas.